This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 193 of This is the G Podcast. Yes. Yeah. Man, this episode is titled Strike Nation for Real, y'all. United Auto Workers on strike. We're talking 13,000 with potential of about 150,000. The Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, SAG-AFTRA, that's 160,000 here. Writers Guild of America, that's 11,500. Unite here, Local 11, 1,000. 750 hotel workers in LA, and Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, 1,700 nurses in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Wow. That's all I got to say, man. From 2021 to 2022, the numbers of those on strike, the numbers were up 50%. So, man, I can't wait to see what it's going to look like from 22 to 23. Anyway, I'm just like Seeley from The Color Purple, man. I may be black, ugly, and I can't cook, but I'm here, y'all. I'm here. Yes. Oh, yeah. Each week we do news, politics, pop culture, that piping hot tea from the one and only Tonya B. Only 7 episodes away from episode 200 in This is the G Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Let's get started with news from Syracuse. Mike, what you got, Mike?
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy announced that Republicans will open an impeachment investigation into President Biden. While there's been no solid evidence that President Biden benefited from his son Hunter's business dealings, the GOP has insisted there is a connection. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Extreme MAGA Republicans have launched an illegitimate impeachment inquiry that is a kangaroo court, fishing expedition, and conspiracy theater rolled into one.
The impeachment inquiry is not a formal impeachment of the president. McCarthy has been trying to avoid a government shutdown over spending and keep his job as speaker amid threats from the extreme right of his own party. Votes he needs to avoid a shutdown. While there's still some debate within the medical community about whether there will be a major benefit for the public, the FDA authorized updated COVID-19 vaccines on Monday. A different advisory committee meets Tuesday to recommend who should get the new booster, which targets new variants. COVID-19 infections have gone up since July. According to the CDC, hospitalizations are up nearly 16%, and deaths are up nearly 17% since last week, as compared to the week before. 5 former Memphis police officers have been charged with federal civil rights violations in the beating death of Tyree Nichols. All of the officers are black. Each of them have already pleaded not guilty to the state charges. Nichols' violent, deadly beating was captured on video. He died in a hospital 3 days later. A panel of advisors for the CDC has backed the broad use of new COVID-19 vaccines. The advisors voted 13-1 to recommend the vaccines for people ages 6 months and older. The decision comes as cases are on the rise. Recommending the vaccine for everyone has implications for insurance purposes. If you're on Medicare, Medicaid, or have private insurance, your COVID booster should be covered. But there may be exceptions. If you don't have insurance, booster shots should be available for free through public health departments across the state. You can start getting the new COVID shot this week. Utah Senator Mitt Romney says he will not seek another term.
Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
Romney was clear that age was a factor in his online video announcement. He would be in his mid-80s toward the end of a second term. The former Republican presidential nominee voted twice to impeach then-President Donald Trump. They finally got him. Danilo Cavalcanti, the convicted murderer who escaped from a Pennsylvania prison, is now in custody after a manhunt that lasted nearly 2 weeks. Surveillance aircraft was able to pick up his heat signal early Wednesday morning. That allowed search teams and their dogs to move in and grab him.
The dog subdued him. He continued to resist, but was forcibly taken into custody. No one was injured as a result of that. He did sustain a minor bite wound.
State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens. And a meeting between North Korea's Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin has wrapped up. Speculation is that the two countries made an agreement, including weapons for Russia in exchange for their help with a secretive satellite program for North Korea, in addition to other assistance. Hunter Biden, the son of President Joe Biden, has been indicted on gun charges after a plea deal fell apart in July. Biden is accused of illegally obtaining and possessing a Colt revolver in October 2018 after falsely declaring that he was not a user of or addicted to narcotic drugs, which prosecutors say was not true. This is the first time the son of a sitting U.S. president has been indicted on federal criminal charges. Hunter Biden's lawyers said special counsel David Weiss was bending to political pressure by filing the indictment. Thursday, Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee ruled in favor of severing the trials of 2 of the defendants from that of 17 other defendants, including former President Trump, in the Georgia 2020 election case. Kenneth Chesbrough and Sidney Powell each invoked their right to a speedy trial, which is scheduled to begin on October 23rd. McAfee denied a request by the 2 lawyers to have their trials separate from each other. Chesbrough is tied to the fake electors part of the case, and Powell, while pushing claims of widespread fraud, coordinated with a data company to access election info from Coffee County. Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis had argued all 19 defendants should be tried together, saying it can be done, whereas breaking the case up into multiple lengthy trials would create an enormous strain on the resources of the Fulton County Superior Court. The United Auto Workers Union is on strike. They launched simultaneous strikes at 3 factories owned by GM, Ford, and Chrysler owner Stellantis. This move will stop production of the Ford Bronco, Jeep Wrangler, and Chevy Colorado pickup truck, along with other models. It's the first time the UAW has struck all 3 of the big 3. UAW President Shawn Fain.
We are committed to winning an agreement with the big 3 that reflects the incredible sacrifice and contributions UAW members have made to these companies.
The decision to go with targeted walkouts could limit the cost to the union of strike pay, which is $500 per week. The union wants a 40% pay raise. Detroit car makers have offered about half.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. It is episode 193. Thank you so much, Mike, for the headlines. And he is here, y'all, the one and only Talib Shabazz is in the building. Newsmaker crew.
I'm doing my Trump dance today.
Oh, no, don't do it, man. Don't do it. That dude. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, man.
Talib Shabazz is here, man. And I'm going to dive right in, man.
Might as well,
man. You've heard from Mike. Hunter Biden indicted on gun charges. I got to ask you, Talib, I'll let you go first, man. Do you think it will be an issue for brother Joe, for Joe Biden?
What I would say is that I don't think it'll directly affect Joe's in terms of Joe Biden's constituents, you know, looking at how they are viewing Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. I can't help but think that this would affect Joe Biden in some way. And because, who wants to see their son going to jail?
Yeah.
I would like to think that it shouldn't be a problem for Joe to still be able to perform the duties of his office, But, yeah, man, when we are we're just in the middle of a whole bunch of corruption. You know what I mean?
Dude.
It's like, so does Joe, so that's the real question. Up till now, they haven't been able to show any correlation between Hunter's, paintings being sold and, his business dealings in Ukraine. But they haven't been able to show a correlation between Joe Biden and that. So yeah. Is there influence peddling? Probably. But it doesn't, I really don't know what to say on this one, man. It just calls so many different things into existence. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because now you got to look at, okay, well, why did Hunter feel that he could, get to the big guy?
Yeah, I agree. Well, let me say this, man. As a partisan, if you are a Democrat, okay, mm-hmm. and you want Joe to win because that's your party, then you're always going to say, hey, there's nothing to see here. Keep moving. You know what I'm saying? That's just the nature of politics. Right. Regardless of what they say, regardless of what anybody says, in politics, people are going to say for their team, they're not going to say, even in football, whatever, they're not going to say, oh, the ball hit the line, ref. No, they're not going to give up their teammate. Okay, that's just the nature of politics.
Right.
But for those people who are independent voters, for those people who might be on the fence, be it, let's say, Republicans who say, hey, I'm never going to vote for Trump, they may be looking at this and saying, you know what? We need to pay attention to what's going on. Now, I get it. The folks who are diehard, true and blue will say this is some bullshit. We need to keep it moving. Nothing to see here. Oh, they're just playing politics. But for the independent voters, okay, for the people in the middle, it might be an issue. And the other thing is, the other thing, man, is Hunter's just a bad guy. He's just a bad dude. And that's unfortunate, man. You know, you always have people in the family who you just don't bring. You know what I'm saying? You just keep them at bay. And you just seem like he's one of those dudes. And it's unfortunate because Biden lost Bo, his son. And that was, Bo was like, you know, what do you call it? The heir apparent. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, and what's the parable? The biblical parable.
The prodigal son.
That's what I'm saying. but you know, if you smoking crack on film in bed, you know what I'm saying? Using the N-word when you texting your attorney back in when he did all that, I was like, dude, no, I'm not defending this guy.
Right.
You know? So my point is, it's like, I hear it. When I say stuff like that, people are like, well, you know, you just hurting his chances. You just fucking up the election. I said, no, look, I didn't smoke the crack.
You know, right. Exactly. And the thing, again,
I didn't use the N-word, smoking crack in bed.
Right. But my thing is, again, it's, it just seems rather, fishy.
It is.
You know, Hunter Biden's main money over the last couple of years, or over the years in question, have come from Ukraine. Right. And now here, Joe Biden is dumping all of this money into Ukraine. So it's there's, you know, is there something possibly happening? Yes, there's something possibly happening. Well, are we going to see evidence?
Go ahead. Absolutely.
That's what I was really going to say. Is there evidence of something fishy happening?
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't been found yet.
Yeah. The point is, and I know people are saying, well, they went through an investigation. We had all this. They didn't find anything. But an investigation is as good as the investigator.
Yes.
You know, the person doing the investigation.
Yeah.
And I'm not throwing a blanket over politicians or politics. But, you know, when there's a smell of fish.
Usually means there's some trout. Right. There's some trout somewhere close.
When there's smoke. I'm just saying, you know, but, you know, I'm not here trying to throw Biden under the bus. You know, I hope whatever it is, he gets a fair trial. And I also, you know, I never want to see anybody who's addicted in any way be pounded just because they went through an addiction. Because, you know, what's there before the grace of God go I. You know, it could be anybody. It could be anybody in your family. You know, dealt with addiction, seen it in my family. That's so, you know, I get that. But when you're using the N-word and just going, you know, the bad character stuff, man, and your dad is VP, you know, and let me say one more thing and we'll get off this. Shit. Look, as much as, I mean, you know, I voted for Obama twice, okay? Supported Obama. Obama and I didn't see eye to eye on everything. And there were some things, even when I was doing the podcast, my GP3 podcast, I was very vocal about the things I did not like about Obama. I didn't like his ties to the banking industry. Yeah. You know, and the fact that he had so many people from Goldman Sachs in his cabinet. Right. There were some issues I had, but you know what? I still supported him, but I was vocal. Okay. Yes. But the thing about Obama is we didn't have to talk about all this stuff. You know, we didn't have to go, you know what I'm saying? Everything was about policy. Everything was about his decisions. It was never about somebody smoking crack on film. You know, it was never some greasy, grimy. What's the ET entertainment television kind of shit. It was never that with Obama. So I miss Obama because of that. Because it was just, Obama was scandal free.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the more dignified presidents over the last 40, 50 years that I've seen. Yeah. In terms of, he dealt with things graciously.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Now, I only voted for Obama once.
Okay.
After that, I went back to writing my own name in. Because it's still, after I saw what he did this first term, I was like, yeah, I could still do a better job than this,
But you know what? I would have it out. My friends were like, man, you better quit talking bad about Obama. I'm like, shit, damn, look at Goldman Sachs, dog. Look at the money. Come on, man.
It's funny
the money.
I originally thought that was a good move because I'm like, Obama didn't show necessarily that he had a great track record in terms of dealing with the budgets and finances. So I was like, I would have preferred somebody from, a Delta community credit union or something like that, as opposed to Goldman
not the
Sachs.
People who've been screwing black people over
exactly
in the hood,
slavery
in the community. not the ones who foreclosing on a house every minute. Not those people.
Right? But I gave it to and again, So the thing is, okay, if we, yes, I would hope that anybody who is going through something, going through a legal scenario, would get a fair trial. And I hope Hunter Biden follows, I hope his trial is fair. Should he go to jail?
Yeah.
Well, I'm in favor of anybody going to jail if he did something wrong, because they would definitely throw my black ass.
Mine too.
You know what I mean?
So it's like, dog, hey, if he did it, he did it.
Right. Hey. But
he'll be fine. He'll be playing golf.
Yeah.
He won't be in Shawshank Fulton.
Exactly.
They're not gonna put him in Fulton County.
No, he's gonna get the gravy train.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. All right, man, let me get off that. But anyway, I just found a way to get Obama's name in here so I can light up the people, Paul. They're gonna be calling me. You better not say nothing bad about Obama. Right, what you saying?
Look, man, my mom and I used to fight physically. Don't talk about it.
Well, look, hey, Talib, walk in the room, pictures of Obama, Michelle, the kids. All over just like old school with Bobby Kennedy,
right?
Martin,
exactly. Yeah, and
Robert.
White Jesus.
Don't you say that bad on that podcast about Obama. We love you, Obama. We love you, brother. All right, man. Just one quick thoughts, man, because we had a discussion about this last week. Romney comes out and basically says, hey, I'm not going to run for another term to allow the next generation to lead. Is that a coincidence? Okay, I'll give you some. Maybe a little bit of.
I would love to say that Romney's people listen to our show and follow heed. But really, I think what it is more than anything is, Romney looking at the climate, today's climate, and saying to himself, okay, I'm pretty much an island out here in terms of the Republican Party. Liz Cheney's gone. There's a few other people who might really back him up, but really, the whole MAGA crowd sees him as a rhino anyway. So for him, I could say, to bow out gracefully, I can see that his people were like, look, you know what the climate is. You're going to have a rough go at it, especially if a Trump, does somehow get back in. So, okay, great. I'm cool with it. Unfortunately, I know that this means that, there won't be very many. After Romney goes, there's not really going to be any kind of allies for Democrats on the Republican side. You know what I mean? You know, I can't believe I'm longing for the days where, you know, we had somebody like, what's my man's name? The war hero. I'm drawing a blank.
John McCain. John McCain.
And
you know what? I'll go one better. I'll go one better, man. And this is old school politics, but Tip O'Neill. Yeah. And when you had, what is his name? Kennedy. Those guys, you know, reaching across the aisles, man.
Because they still got stuff done. That's the thing. We are at a point right now where, you know, I was listening to the Black Eagle the other day.
Oh, wow.
Joe Madison. And, you know, he was relating a story about him talking to a congressman and the fact that these congressmen are not using the underground apartments under the Congress anymore. You know, the little drinking rooms, you know, or smoking rooms. So, and he said, you know, the congressman basically was saying to Madison that, nobody talks anymore.
Yeah.
So if you've got, you know, listen, I'm not, you know, I remember being back in, you know, in primary school and not getting along with everybody in my class, but still working with people in my class to make sure assignments were getting done or, you know, things of that nature. Yeah. I can't, even on the job, as an employee, I don't like every employee that I come into contact with. Yeah. However, if Bob has, you know, and Bob in marketing has something that I need, I'm going to go and talk to Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
The fact that you've got grown-ups, grown people, adults in Congress who do not talk to somebody outside of their party, come on, man. This is just one more thing that Congress that we need to tighten up in Congress. Yeah. Because how can you be trying to push bills through and you're not having conversations? Yeah. It just doesn't make sense.
I agree. When you've got people like Matt Gaetz and what's her name, North Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, these people back in the day would not even be elected. They would. No. I mean, they were unelectable back in the day.
Yes.
And but I look at it, and I'll say this: the timing of Romney's announcement is suspect. And the reason I say that is because we just came off the CNN poll talking about the fact that 49% of the voters are concerned about Biden's age. Okay.
Right.
So from a standpoint, you'd say, well, he's Republican. Why does it's not going to matter? And but it does. And this is why. If you're familiar with the No Labels Party, the third label,
Joe Manchin.
Oh yeah. Ben Chavis is on the board. And he is pro no labels. You know, and my point is, you know, anything that he can say at this point to make Biden look like the weaker choice, knowing that Biden is the lead for independents, possibly, to get those independents to move over to the no labels, then he'll do it. So he's, you know, look, you and I said, Romney ain't here for no money, man. Right? No. Romney is not like these other politicians who have to stay in office because it's their gig. You know, this is how they generate money. Okay. So Romney's like, look, I can do with or without. So it's easy for him to step down. It's not some profiling courage for him to say, I'm not going to run again at his age. Okay. But Mitch McConnell, dude is making bank. Pelosi making bank.
Big money.
All these other folks I've been mentioning, they've been making bank over the years. And the other sore spot, which could be another podcast, is the fact that these guys are making money on the stock market as well. And nobody really talks about that because they won't change that law.
Of course not. You know, it's benefiting too many.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not going to get into that on the podcast. Look it up yourself. But bottom line is this, you know, I think he says it because the No Labels Party, his support for the No Labels Party, and, you know, the fact that, you know, he's Republican light, like you say, he's a rhino. Right. You know, I just question the intent. You know, I don't question what he said. I think what he said, I agree, spot on. And I wish all the politicians would say it. The ones who are at that point where they can hand it off, where you can, what is it? When you can
pass the torch,
the relay,
the baton, right?
Pass the baton, pass the torch. Bottom line is, man, I do question the intent in light of the polls because the polls just came out and the polls aren't good for Biden's age. Right. So good point. Good point. Real quick, man, what's your big takeaway for the week? We'll wrap.
Well, got to go back to my old favorite. What's done in the dark will always come to the light. They have in Virginia, there's a woman running for a House of Delegates seat. Her name is Susanna Gibson. And the big deal about Susanna Gibson is she and her husband live streamed themselves in sexual acts, asking for money on Chatterbait.
What? Okay, so I don't have a picture. What is she? Is she black, white?
She's black. She's Caucasian. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. I don't think I'd pay for her to watch her do it with her husband. But
wow.
I mean, she's not a bad looking sister.
So she's what's the? God, man, I always go blank on the show. What's it? Not Instagram, Chatter. What's the big one? OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Yeah, I don't know if it's Chatterbait. Chatterbait, from what I understand, is a website where you basically it's a webcam site.
Okay. Yeah.
So they say Chatterbait, masturbate. You were chatting to get off.
Get it?
Right, exactly. I don't know for sure.
Somebody told me.
I had to do just a little research once I saw
due diligence.
Did
you see him?
No, I didn't.
We got to do some research.
No, really, I spent more research this week on bongos.
Oh no! We do the heavy lifting for y'all. Just know that, podcast audience.
But
we do it for you.
Yeah. So
like Trump. We take it for you.
Oh yeah, she took it too. She took it all the way.
She did.
But so so this.
Oh my God!
So here we go. So now so this to me.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you. Yeah. Is she like a top candidate?
Yeah.
Or is she in office already?
She's not in office, but this is a very important seat because this will her winning this seat would put the Democrats either to 50-50 or to 51.
Damn, and she's a Democrat too.
Yeah, she's a Democrat. So, but the all the conversation surrounding the controversy is because she's pro abortion.
Oh wow!
So now all the Republicans are really trying to ride her. Like, come on, family values. You got 2 kids, and you and your husband are making sex tapes. But so again, this brings a whole nother conversation into play because millennials and there are a lot of people that are using online resources. Not necessarily for the most positive experiences.
And boy, did she.
Yeah, I think it was. She got a charge, though. She got a charge for that one. But, so the thing is that, okay, can we hire somebody? Mm-hmm. Can we elect someone to office who has, publicly had sex on the internet? Are people going to...
Well, we got somebody who had sex with a porn star.
Yes, we did. But again, that was Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he had other things going for him, even though the hypocrisy is I can defend Donald Trump for, even being found, guilty of libel.
Yeah.
For talking about this woman that he kind of raped in the dressing room, grabbing women by the pussy, these things. You can defend you can defend a man like that, but when a woman who not randomly has sex on the internet, but has sex with her husband, so I mean she's. It's kind of like, okay, well, where do we draw a moral line these days?
So
you know what I mean?
And I don't want to stay on it too long, but what did she say? What was her excuse, argument? How did she justify it?
She in the article I read, I only read one on this one, and there wasn't any real justification for why she and her husband did it in the first place.
So were they doing it often, or was it a one-time thing?
That's unfortunately I don't know that either. The article didn't say if this was a recurring thing, but if they did it once, they probably did it more than once. And
I got you.
You know, married people do wild stuff to keep the romance going or whatever the case is. You know, again, she's with her husband. It's not like she's a prostitute. Yeah. You know what I mean? So what two consenting adults do versus what somebody, you know, what transpired between people who weren't consenting, and you don't find fault with that, but you want to find fault with this. You know, we just need a check. But you know, I don't know if I could necessarily throw my weight behind somebody who did who's asking for money on Chatterbait. Okay. You know what I mean?
Be careful how you say throw your weight behind. So there you go. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, y'all.
Well,
I'm sorry, y'all.
Oh, man.
There we go. All right, man. Let me get mine. Let me get mine out of the way.
Get yours done.
You know, because I got a million of them.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know my big take, man. You know, I couldn't go without saying this. The guy who misled people on the COVID vax. You know, the one who questioned September 11th. The one who said he was going to host Jeopardy. You know, the one who kept the one who kept the Green Bay Packers fans in limbo while he's in a cave meditating.
Right.
Debuted this week. Okay. And I never like to see anybody go down with an injury. I don't like to see that. But dude went down like just to take from the last story, he went down like a bad bootleg ED tablet. You know what I'm saying? Dude, just flat, straight up. Okay, no, straight down. And the season basically is over. Season's over. Gosh. But you know what? I got to say this, man.
But they won that game. They won the hell out of that game, though.
They won. But I got to say, I just say, I know you're from New York, you know, but them New York teams, boy, it's bad to be a New Yorker, man. I don't like that.
Rough. It's rough.
But now maybe Greeny, Stephen A., what's his name, Pat McAfee, all these folks at ESPN will get off this greatness, trying to make this guy the savior. Right. You know, keep in mind he's only had one Super Bowl win. Okay, in 12 years, one. And his playoff record is mediocre. 11-9 at Lambeau Field. He was 5-3. You know, if in my opinion, the Packers, I mean, and I hate to say this because, you know, Falcons play the Packers, but the Packers fans have to be happy. You know, not that he's hurt, but it's almost like vindication that this big thing that was going to happen because they left them. Now it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So, you know, and I just think for all those folks I named, it's just time to pack up that circus, man. The Aaron Rodgers circus needs to move on. It needs to move on, man. There are greater quarterbacks who have won 2 or more. You know, Tom Brady, Montana, Bradshaw, Manning, the Mannings. Yeah. Okay. Elway, Staubach, you know, Mahomes. Big Ben, Aikman. Yeah. Hell, even I didn't know Jim Plunkett won more than 2. You know what I'm saying? And
really?
You know, yes, dude, different team, but Jim Plunkett. But I'm just saying. Wow. Bottom line is, let's move on. Let's quit. Now now the conversation is, will he come back even better? What are y'all talking about? This ain't the $6 million man. Dude, you know, the dude is done.
Achilles.
Yeah,
he's out.
My point. Yeah, but my point is, let's move on, y'all. Let's this fascination over Aaron Rodgers is amazing. He is one of the biggest trolls ever in sports, in my opinion. And I'll leave it at that. But we'd love your comments. Go to Castropolis.net, choose the people poll, leave us a voicemail, and I'll play it back. I'll hit it back. I'll hit you back. I'll play it back for you. Thanks to the Newsmaker crew, man. Thank you, Talib. Thank you, brother.
Sir. What's up, bye?
Goodbye.
Bye.
We got you. Coming back soon. He's coming back. Nava's coming back.
Nava's coming back better than ever.
Better than ever. All right, y'all, let's take a break and we'll come back with Tonya B and the T. Appreciate you, man.
More. This is the G Podcast after the break.
Hey, everybody, what's up? It's Tommy B from This Is the G Podcast. We are now halfway through 2023. And if you've been thinking about starting your own podcast in 2024, I'd love to have a chat with you. The Castropolis Podcast Network is currently accepting new shows. And if you have a clear vision and a unique voice, let's get in touch. Reach out to me at info@castropolis.net or visit the website castropolis.net. Simply click on the Contact Us button. So go to castropolis.net, click on Contact Us, and just leave me a message. I'm Tommy B from This Is the G Podcast, and I can't wait to help you start your very own podcast journey today.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sippin' the tea with Tonya B.
Yes, it's tea time, children. I am your girl, Tonya B, and this is how we sip the GT on This Is the G Podcast. And I tell you, if you miss a cup of tea with me, you miss a lot. So if by chance you were hearing this and you didn't catch it all, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, and rock with us, and set that notification bell so you will get an alert each and every time we post some new content. All right, with that said, let's just get to this week's entertainment news. You know, a lot of things happened during the pandemic. People found out the people that they thought they were weren't who they thought they were. They got together, they broke up, they got married, and then those people that got married didn't stay married. Oh, nasty Neo, I said it. He got remarried to his estranged wife, Crystal, because they happened to be forced to be under the same roof because of the pandemic. They got divorced. And now I'll call him a J-list rapper because I'm like, Jehu? Jeezy, as in the rapper Jeezy, married former talk show host from The Real Jeannie Mai. They weren't together 2.5 years. They had apparently been separated for some time. So when Jeannie Mai talking about she was blindsided that Jeezy went down to the Fulton County Courthouse and filed for divorce, I don't know, old lady. I'm just saying, girlfriend. They have a beautiful baby girl, Monaco. They call her Coco. But again, if they had been separated, how was she blindsided? Because, you know, she was all up and through, skinning and grinning with the baby, you know, on a so-called private jet with her New York Times best-selling author of a, I guess, estranged husband. Gotta wonder what happened. Now, this is Jeannie Mai's second divorce, so it might not be all the people that she picks. It might be something to do with her. Okay, was her mom an issue? Because, you know, when you get Jeannie Mai, you get Mama Mai too. And I think they thought, oh, we got a rich rapper. Y'all got fooled, because from what I hear, word from the curb in the ATL streets is that he had to borrow money to get her an engagement ring. So with that, let's just keep it moving. Robin Thicke, I told you he's having some issues and he may be headed back to rehab yet again. We wish him all the best and hope he gets the help that he needs. He hasn't had a hit record in quite some time, and he actually had some shows booked. He was supposed to be touring this weekend up in the Northeast in Philadelphia with Neo, and he is not on that show. Well, I don't know, should we clap it up? I'm still waiting to see what happens. The reunion of Nelly and Ashanti, they are officially back together. Now he's actually claiming her like she's a piece of meat. But anyway, after 20 plus years, he's been all up and through a whole bunch of women. But look who he came back to. And if you watch the MTV Video Music Awards, which I did not, just on the red carpet, you saw Ashanti with her little pocketbook and it had Nelly's picture on it. Isn't that cute? I also told you about the revival of Ossie Davis's 1961 play Purlie Victorius, and how a lot of celebrities, those of color, some not, stepped up. Now, when you're a producer, that means you're investing and putting up your money, okay? But that's how you get the EGOT. So you got Samuel L. Jackson and his wife, LaTanya, Kerry Washington and her husband, Alan Alda from the 70s show MASH, Candy Burrs and her husband, and now Common and MC Lyte have joined the list of investor producers. I hope Purlie Victorious does really well. I also hope the revival of The Wiz does as well. You know, and Candy got some money in both of them, so she ain't playing. She wants to be an EGOT, but she got to get a Grammy first. Oh, well, anyway. Speaking of Grammy, somebody I think that will never get one is this rapper, DDG. I call him a a W list rapper. It's like, who is he? All I know is he's out here acting a fool, and apparently Halle Bailey, not Halle Berry, Halle Bailey, Chloe and Halle, that she seems to love him. She's our, latest little mermaid. And word from the curb is that she was seen visibly pregnant at the MTV Video Music Awards with her DDG potential baby daddy. Speaking of Disney, I know you heard this, Tommy B. Byron Allen, although he did not make a successful bid for BET, he has now offered Disney $10 billion to buy Disney Plus. That could be a blessing or it could be a curse. I don't know. What else could be a curse? October 24th, Paramount Plus is airing the Milli Vanilli story. We know it was just a big old fakery. But there's this guy, Frank Farian, who's from overseas. He was behind the whole Milli Vanilli thing. He knew what he was doing, but he's the one that made the money. He also has history doing this. Back in the 70s, Tommy B, he created another fake group called Boney M. They had a lot of hits overseas. One that was a club hit over here in the States called Daddy Cool. But Frank Farian is more like Frank Fakian, and I'm just calling a thing. All right, let's talk about this. Jonathan Majors, his career has still not been repaired since all those allegations from the girlfriend. I was drunk, I took his phone, I'm sorry, I lied, then she skipped the country. He's still going back and forth to court about that. But there's a story that came out earlier this week that said he allegedly, and I say allegedly, broke up a fight between two teenage girls at a California In-N-Out burger. Why are they fighting in the In-N-Out? The food is just too good. But there are now claims coming forth that the whole thing was staged in an effort to improve his image and make him look like a good guy. If that is the fact, it's going to put him way back there where he was. So if it happened and he did break it up, that's cool. I don't know. He just is making his attorney rich. That's all I can say. Megan Good, keep collecting your check, girl. Anyway, let's talk about, I say the dumb donkeys of the week were probably the NFL Network and the Marriott hotels. And here is why. Now, that woman who alleged that former NFL legend and sportscaster Michael Irvin assaulted her during the 2023 Super Bowl week activities. Remember, he got pulled off the NFL Network, immediately got sent home. And I understand that you have to, be proactive, not reactive people, proactive when people make these kind of allegations. Sometimes they're true. Sometimes people just want attention and they want money. Well, Michael was like, you're not doing this to me. He got the receipts. He got the videotapes from the Marriott Hotel, and he has claimed the victory. The woman clearly lied, but Michael Irvin sued the Marriott hotels for $100 million. He did get $25 million. But I think he should be suing the NFL Network, too, and make sure he gets any back pay that he may not have received. This woman tried to end his career. She can go to hell in a handbasket. Yes, I said it. Michael Irvin is right back where he needs to be, back in the big chair on the NFL Network. And NFL Network, I'm giving y'all the side eye this week because I'm like, I don't know about that. Well, this is, I've seen this advertisement for a documentary, Tommy B, about Kirk Franklin. I'm like, okay, well, we know he found his son and, he was a teenage daddy and he went through some things. But this documentary is about Kirk Franklin finding his birth father, who didn't really know he even existed. And the man said, I got your mom pregnant. I was like 14 or 15. And so it's a journey of him, again, finding his birth father in his mid-50s. And I just got to say, Tommy B, I wonder if, that void in his life has something to do with, what he's going through now with his son, Carry On. But again, when you are having children at 14 and 15 years old, y'all, let's just call a thing a thing. You don't have the best parenting skills because you have nothing to look to, to tell you how to do it. But anyway, that's all I got. Ain't got no more. It's your girl, Tiny B. This is how we sip this tea each and every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the G Podcast. And don't forget, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, y'all. Have a great week.
What you watching this week, Tommy B?
The Shy, Episode 7, Season 6, Long Live. One episode away from the mid-season finale, number 8. Big spoilers coming, y'all. You may want to pause until you watch. This episode of The Shy was a real tearjerker, but there are really some good moments in this episode. I like the opening scene with Papa at the altar. It was powerful, moving, and it really set the tone for the rest of the episode. Bakari's confrontation with Nook, it was clear that Bakari was still grieving the loss of Pastor Stanley, and he was looking for someone to blame. but Nook's words gave him a lot to think about. And I'm curious to see how Bakari will respond in the next episode. The candlelight vigil for Pastor Stanley was a beautiful scene. It's a nice way to bring the community together to celebrate his life. Papa's conversation with Kenya was raw. It was straight to the point. It was clear that he was struggling with the guilt of not being able to protect Pastor Stanley, his dad. He minced no words in exclaiming that his daddy was right. They are through. I like that we got to see more of Keisha's therapy session. That's good, seeing therapy in the Black community. It was interesting to learn about her past and why she's the way she is, especially the impact of her mother. Maisha and Gemma's argument in the studio was a little bit frustrating, but it did lead to some great creative juice coming from Maisha. I'm excited to see what they come up with next. Could Jake's warning to Gemma about working with Bakari's sister be a storyline in part 2 of season 6? Something to think about, y'all. Shad and his girlfriend's near robbery scene was intense, but I gotta ask, why are Emmett's and Shad's character being written so dumb? You know, these guys don't have common sense. They can't hide money. They can't hide guns. Whew, what's going on? Nina and Keisha's therapy session was also very powerful. Nina's confession that motherhood and family was not her cup of tea was a major turning point in their relationship, and we got to see how that turns out. Kev and Emmett's bond was one of the highlights of the episode. It was nice to see them come together and support each other. Bakari and Papa's bonding scene was also very touching. It was clear that they were struggling with the loss of Pastor Stanley, and they needed each other's support. Duda's appearance, oh Lord, Duda, what you doing, brother? Showing up at Pastor Stanley's funeral was like a chilling moment. Crazy. It reminded me of Big Red showing up at the 5 Heartbeat manager's funeral, trying to hit on Diane Carroll. Clearly, dog. Nope, not the way to go. But it was also a clear reminder of his power and his reach. Overall, I thought it was a very well-written episode. This episode was well acted. It was emotional, suspenseful, thought-provoking. But next week is the mid-season finale, y'all. You know the show's broken up into 2 parts, 8 and 8, 16 total. I'm eager to see how the season unfolds from here. And remember, all previous Shy Talk blogs are available at castropolis.net. Revisit all my comments, starting with episode 1, season 6. See you next week. As always, big thanks to Syracuse Mike, Tonya B, Vi, Talib, author and political analyst Harold Michael Harvey. Thank you so much. Also, thanks to the crew, Millennial Nick, Lady J, Get Well Soon, Regia, music by K-Dub, all those who help us make it happen each and every week, y'all. Remember, every Sunday, 6 p.m., you can stream us first. Links in your social media, in all our bios. Also at castropolis.net. You can get everything you need. Go to castropolis.net. Make sure you share us with a friend, y'all. Don't cost you nothing. And here's my PSA, first PSA for this episode. Our prayers go to those dealing with the disasters in Morocco and Libya. Please remember, my people, if you plan on giving, check your charities. One way I check is go to give.org. That's give.org. PSA number 2. How about that Coach Prime and them Buffaloes 3-0? Yes. Thrilling double OT win over their rival Colorado State. That Prime train just keeps on rolling and rolling. Sunglasses, hat, and all, y'all. Appreciate you all for supporting the show each week. Don't forget, you can subscribe and just turn on notifications so you can get bonus episodes. So subscribe, podcast, subscribe to YouTube, turn on your notifications, and you'll get the bonus episodes during the week. And you can get the, your favorite podcast app again, or go to YouTube. Big thanks to Officer Ron for joining me on episode 192. Great job, dude. Wow. Good feedback on that episode. He talked law enforcement in the Fulton County Jail. Really insightful. The episode is available now, y'all. And with that, episode 193 is in the can. Have a great week. Peace and power to the people.
You've been listening to the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B. The G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.